As Christians, we're not supposed to be fearful of death or anxious about it, but sometimes it's just a natural thing to do, especially when there's something that happens like coronavirus that's kind of out of our control and we're not quite sure what's going on. It's like having somebody flying the plane and you're not. We don't know what to do, we don't know how to handle it. For many people in the world, they don't even bother to ask the big questions of life. Some people, other people, go a bit further and they think that the universe is a bunch of stardust that happened accidentally. It's just time and chance acting on matter, and that the whole thing came from nothing, purely accidentally. I think for those people, you're right to be worried and you're right to be fearful if this is what you think there is, if you haven't acknowledged God and His sovereignty. That's probably the right state to be in. If you don't believe that God's sovereign and He's in control of all of history, then it makes perfect sense to be fearful. Because if God's not in control of everything, then nobody is. That would mean that all the brutality, all the sickness, all the disease, all the pain, all the evil, all the pandemics are just purposeless accidents. And it would mean that we're just at the mercy of chance. But we're not. We're not alone. We're not at the mercy of some random, uncontrolled accident of nature. We haven't been abandoned to our fate, nor is God distant or remote. He's deeply and personally involved at a detailed level with everything that's happening in the world right now. You matter to God. You can take comfort in at least two things. First, the fact that God is sovereign. I'm going to just read from the Bible now. In Psalm 115 verse 3 it says, "Our God is in heaven. He does whatever pleases Him." God is sovereign. In Psalm 135 verse 5 and 6 it says this, "I know that the Lord is great, that our Lord is greater than all gods," little g. "The Lord does whatever pleases Him in the heavens and on the earth, in the seas and all their depths." That's the second one, that God does whatever pleases Him. In Isaiah 40:22 and 25:26 it says this, and listen to this, this shows you how big God is compared to what we think so often. "He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heavens like a canopy, and He spreads them out like a tent to live in. To whom will you compare me, or who is my equal? Says the Holy One. Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who created all these? He who brings out the starry host one by one and calls forth each one of them by name. God has a name for every star. Because of His great power and mighty strength, none of them is missing. Not one star is missing from the place where it should be because of God's mighty power and strength. You can take comfort from the fact that God is sovereign and in control of everything. The second thing that you take comfort from is that Jesus is ruling and reigning on the earth now. Now, it might not seem like that to you, but that is what the Bible tells us is actually happening. So in 1 Corinthians 15, and looking in verse 25 and 26, it says this, "For He must reign until He has put all His enemies under His feet, and the last enemy to be destroyed is death." One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Revelation 1:5, where it says that Jesus is ruler of the kings of the earth. All the kings of the earth, whether they like it or not, whatever president or prime minister or dictator, whether they care to be ruled by him or not, they are being ruled by Jesus. Which all means that God is already ruling and reigning right now. And he's completely in control of everything. So who's your trust in right now? Is it time and chance? Is it the politicians who have control over virtually nothing but think they control everything? Or is it the God who created the universe and is in total control of everything that you see, everything that you touch, everything that you know, including all of your days? If you're anxious at all, then I'd encourage you not to let the source of your fear, your worry, and your anxiety come from a broken view of God and his rule over history. God is in charge and he's not surprised by a pandemic. And our troubles in this world are just momentary. This life isn't all there is. This pandemic won't last forever. And the human race isn't going to die out